Okay, if you look on the inside of this cup, you'll see your fair share of wear there. You see a lot of wear marks on this one edge. Okay, today what we're going to be doing is replacing the air pump on our 2010 Mini Cooper Clubman S with an N14 engine. The air pumps can be problematic as they get older. If they get wore out, this is driven by your camshaft, and if your camshaft gets a bind because of your air pump, it is going to break and ruin your camshaft. So this car has 112,000 miles. We've decided to proactively change this part. It's about 130 bucks. It's a Pierburg. You see them all over the place. We'll have links to Amazon where to purchase this. We've actually got the one out. It's actually identical to the original, same markings down to the T. So this is an identical factory OEM, not from Mini Cooper. So Pierburg is the one who makes these. We're going to pop this thing in there. Do not forget when you install it, it's 2 bolts and a gasket. Do not forget to remove the intake caps so that when you put your vacuum hoses back on, everything works well. Let's get to it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the vacuum hose here, and all you're going to do is you're going to push in on the connector and it's going to free up, and we're going to put that aside. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remove some of these electrical connectors. All you do is, each of them is a little bit different. Lift up on them, they will pull out. Actually, this one doesn't even need to pull out. All we're going to do is we're going to remove the hose. Loosen the hose clamps up here on the front and back of your turbo hose. This, we're going to remove the retainer of your vacuum hose. So that we can pull the vacuum hose off from the intake, or from the valve cover actually. Remove that, and that is going to free some space up for us to get in here and remove the vacuum pump. You also have a vacuum line on the bottom of this. You're going to pull that vacuum line off. What we're going to try to do is help it off with a screwdriver so that we don't break it. And we're going to set that aside. Okay, there's 2 bolts that hold this assembly on. They look to be 8 millimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the 2 8mm bolts. We're going to make sure that we don't lose these. The one in the bottom is at a little bit of an angle, so you're going to probably find a challenge to get it. Okay, I'm going to try something with a narrower arm on it, and it looks like we might be out. And we're going to try hard not to drop the screw. Now what we're going to do is just pull on it a little bit and it should come right out. Then what you're going to do is look and see what direction this is actually sitting so that you can adjust the other one and get it back in there properly. Notice that my O-ring stayed on the block, so you need to make sure you remove that O-ring, clean up around it, because the new pump is actually going to have its own new O-ring. Okay, not that you have to, but just to be safe, we're going to put a little bit of oil on this because this is going to go inside of where your crankcase would be. We want to try to get as much oil in there as we can, roll it around. Use the same oil that you use in the crankcase of your car. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of oil around this encasement here, just so it will slide on a little bit easier. Then we're going to look and see what direction the camshaft is compared to where this should be mounting. And it appears that we're probably in the ballpark. We're going to drop this down. If you tilt it back and forth enough, it may drop in. It may not. There we go. Okay, you're going to definitely feel it when it drops in. And then as it drops in, you're going to line up your bolt holes. I find it easier to line up the top one first, identify where that is, and get it started. Then we're going to line up the bottom one and get it started. And this is going to be the two-handed job again to get it down there in the right hole without dropping it. Once you feel the threads start, and sometimes it's a little easier to put an extension on it and spin that guy in there with an extension by hand. That one's snugged down. Get the top one snugged down. Now what we're going to do is stick the socket wrench in there and snug it down. You might go back and forth a couple of times on this to make sure that you snug it properly. The bottom one's a little bit more of a challenge to get onto, to get it to bite. Once you get those snugged on, you want to make sure you get the lower vacuum hose back on while you have a little bit of room to come in there and do it. We're going to put the turbo line back on. Make sure that the connections are nice and tight, along with the line that goes back into your intake or your PCV valve into your valve cover. Now we're going to put the clamp back on that. Your vacuum line will secure back to your air pump. You will plug in this one connector that you pulled off, and then you're going to get a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to tighten your turbo lines back up. This is a very simple, no more than 15-minute job. Super easy job. Don't hesitate to replace this proactively on your car if it's got over 100,000 miles. If your oil looks bad at all, this is driven by the oil out of your engine. So if somebody hasn't changed the oil properly, you will have one of these fail on you. It's catastrophic. It busts your camshaft. It's not a pretty day, because then it's going to cause valves to eat in the motor. So this is a very inexpensive $130 preventative maintenance. Highly recommend it. Thanks for being with us at the Full Octane Garage. If you like our videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about all the cool content we're making. And again, if you have some ideas of some cool content for your Mini Cooper or our Mini Cooper, leave them in the comments below. Maybe we'll give it a shot.